make a video. So, this is going to be my experience with trying to get tested for COVID-19. This is not going to be everybody's experience. I am not speaking for everyone in my state or in my area. I'm not speaking for everyone in the United States at all. This is just my experience, so that is my disclaimer. So I work in the medical field, not as a doctor or a nurse. I'm a medical receptionist. I haven't even been around patients for the last couple weeks. I have been working on a project in the basement of one of our buildings where the medical records are kept, documenting charts for an office that has closed, that wasn't even really affiliated with us, but they needed somewhere to send their medical records. So if patients needed to send them on to other offices, they were documented. So that's what I've been doing. It's about as fun as it sounds. But not yesterday, the day before, I had this cough. And I mean, I pretty much always have a cough. I have thyroid issues as well, so it makes me cough sometimes. But I was getting this cough, which is sort of dry. And I thought it was because the weather's bouncing all over the place because it's spring. So I figured it was just that. And my boss actually came by to check in on me, and I told her, no, it's just a cough. I've, had a cold that I couldn't quite kick for a couple weeks because I did get sick after PAX, and thought maybe it was just lingering from that. And, there's always the cough from the thyroid. So, it could be a variety of things. Asthma too. I'm just a mess. To be perfectly honest, I'm a mess. So I didn't think much of it. And then I was driving home and I noticed this sharp pain, like at the top of my chest, like right about here, right about where the text is. And it's like, that's new. Didn't think much of it. Thought maybe like there was some dust or something on one of the charts that I'd inhaled, and maybe it was just my lungs freaking out because of that. Because once I got home, it was fine. Didn't really bother me much. So, went about my life. Rest of Thursday, I was okay. Friday, I woke up, still a little bit in the chest. Didn't think much of it. Was just like, well, the weather's still bouncing around. Got to work. Still was coughing. And then got on the way home from work, on the drive home, was getting bad. And the coughing was getting worse and worse. And I was getting into coughing fits where I was gasping for breath at the end. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I need to call my doctor's office because, again, asthma, respiratory stuff like that, I want to be right on top of. And then I started thinking about it, and it's like, it's been 2 weeks since I was in Boston. And the same time that PAX was happening in Boston was the same time that the Biogen conference was happening in Boston. And the Biogen conference in Boston, we've since figured out, is pretty much the catalyst that the COVID-19 infection in Boston has basically exploded off of. Like, that basically was the start of the dominoes falling. So I really probably shouldn't even be making this video. I should be resting, but it's content. So I figured I'd call my doctor, and out of an abundance of due diligence, precaution, I would mention, I was in New York about 4 weeks ago. So out of the time frame, but still I was in New York. And within the last 2 weeks, I'd been in Boston. So I told them all my symptoms. I told them I had tightness in my chest. I was having trouble. I was having shortness of breath. I was coughing on the phone while I was talking to them so they could hear what my cough sounded like. And the triage nurse took down all my information, called me back after a while, said, we're going to send you to the ER. We're going to try and rule out pneumonia as well. but we're going to try and push for you to be tested for the COVID-19 just because there is the potential for the exposure while you were down in Boston for PAX East, even though you weren't at the Biogen conference. You know, I was on public transit. The first day I was down there, I was on the subway and on a bus. So there was the potential that I might have come into contact with somebody who was at the conference and had exposure to someone at the conference who ended up getting it. Like, I don't know. I wait for my husband to get home and I go off to the ER. And I get there and they immediately escort me back into a clean room and do a flu swab and take my temp. And I typically run low anyways. And I think that the temp I had at the time was like pretty much normal, like 98.7 or something. It was 36.9 Celsius, which, there we go. 98.42 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I was running at normal, even though they've recently figured out that normal is not normal for most human beings, that the new normal is lower. And I've always run lower most of my life. So I minimize this. Anyways, I actually don't know what my temperature is today. I probably should have taken it by now. Anyways, so I'm at the ER. They do the flu swab. They take my temperature, and my blood pressure and my oxygen levels. And, you know, everybody's all garbed up in their PPE, personal protective equipment, in case you don't know what that means. Again, I work in the medical offices, so I know all the acronyms, or most of them anyways. And the nurse leaves and the doctor comes in, and the doctor unfortunately is very, very condescending and kind of rude. She kept calling me hun and sweetie and talking down to me, and basically told me that I was too young and healthy to have COVID-19. I was like, I have asthma. Like, I'm sorry that you look at me and assume that I don't fit the profile for person in danger of getting sick, but I am here for due diligence because I work for this organization. And in hindsight, I really wish that I had been more assertive at the time that I was there, because I would have pushed back a lot more. But I was just so nervous about the whole thing because I didn't know what the testing was going to entail and what I was going to need to do if it turned out I did have it. Like, was, what was going to be, the protocol after that? Like, what did I need to get antibiotics? Was it something else? So yeah, no, the doctor came in and was basically told me that because she thought I was too young to have it, that I didn't have it and they weren't going to pursue testing. I'm pretty sure at this time, now that I've had, a little under 24 hours to think about it, because I wasn't running a fever and the flu swab came back negative, that she decided off of that I didn't have it. But at the same time, you'd think that you would want to test somebody just to be safe, rather than just decide. But what do I know? Anyways, they sent me in for an x-ray to rule out pneumonia. My lungs were clear for anything in there, so they deemed it a cold and have sent me home. So now what, though? Like, I've never had a cold that's left me feeling like this. Like, I don't have anything up here. It's all literally, it is literally right here. I told one of my friends earlier today, it feels like I inhaled a knife. Like, a Swiss Army knife with all the attachments out is in both my lungs and it's just poking around. And it feels like, you know those pins and needle toys? The ones that you can like press your hand into and make the shapes? It feels like one of those, but really sharp, is just conformed to my chest. And something's sitting on it and just pushing down every time I try to breathe. And then like it feels really tight through my ribs. Like it's miserable. And the cough is so bad. And if it really gets going, I can't breathe at the end of it. And I just don't have a fever. So consequently, I can't get tested. And it frustrates me so much because I work for a medical organization and I'm trying to just be a responsible employee and a responsible community member, and you're denying me access to testing just because I don't fit one criteria. Just the fever. Even though since getting home yesterday, I've seen multiple accounts where it was where people have had the cough and the tightness in the chest and the shortness of breath, and they didn't get the fever until later. And why not just test? Why not just test and have the test come back negative and be like, okay, nope, you don't have it. Great. Then I don't need to be quarantined. So, needless to say, when I get the patient survey from that hospital, because I know they send those out, I will be filling that out and airing my grievances because I'm very disappointed. And I called my PCP's office when I got home and told them that basically the ER had refused to test me because they said I wasn't eligible for it because I was too young and healthy. So hopefully we'll figure out something from there. And we'll figure out if my son and my husband need to be quarantined or not. But for right now, I'm home until I'm healthy. And I'm going to do the right thing for my community by doing that. And then there's also the matter of fact that my son's school is shut down. So I have to be home anyways to to be with him. So, because they're going to do virtual learning. So we're going to figure out how that's going to work. And I will be his teacher, I guess, while he's home. So hopefully the world gets back to normal soon. Hopefully I get healthy again soon. But I just thought this was a worthwhile video to make and let people know what's really going on, in spite of what certain political people are saying about the accessibility of testing and how anybody who wants testing can get testing. There's still barriers. So I don't care what the federal government is saying, stuff still isn't working the way it's supposed to be working. So we still have a really long way to go. On that note, I'm going to stop talking because it's clearly not doing anything for me. I am going to try and stream while I'm home if I'm having good days to try and make up for the fact that I'm not going to be at my job, just to see if I can get maybe some new subs or donations or something. But again, that'll depend on how I'm feeling, if this is going to allow me to talk for long periods of time or not. So we'll see. But I hope everybody else out there is staying healthy. Please, please take what the CDC and medical professionals are saying seriously. Wash your hands. Do not touch other people's hands. Make sure that you are sanitizing stuff. Make sure that you are covering your nose and mouth when you are sneezing or coughing by coughing into your elbow or coughing into a tissue, or, I do this sometimes if I don't think I can get my elbow over in time. Just please take care of yourself, take care of your family. If you know of others in your community who can't take care of themselves, then reach out to them, see if you can help them out. If you are sick, please stay home. If you have the opportunity to work from home, please take it. And if you're an employer, please be flexible with your employees. Please try and make something work out for them. This is not the time to be a dick. Okay? Okay. All right, internet. I'm gonna call it here. All my socials and stuff are down in the description as per the usual. I will hopefully see y'all soon. Take care of yourselves out there.